All right, happy day. It is the 16th day of April. We're still moving along. We're just over halfway through this month of our spring into fitness, and you guys are still crushing it. I'm super satisfied with everybody. I'm so excited about everybody's hard work they've been doing for the last couple of weeks. I've got the purple egg today for a good workout. We're going to see what today brings us. But we're halfway done. You guys are doing super good stuff. And just want to remind you, if you have questions or you need more modifications or you need some help, let us know. Jump into the chat, send us a message through the website. And also, don't forget, we have classes on all the things that we're learning every single day here. Each one of us teaches a variety of classes. Some of us specialize in other things more than others, but you're welcome to join into any of these classes. Grab a 3-day guest pass, check us out live. Sign up for a 30 days just to get all the classes if you want to take them all, whatever it is for you. We want to see you there. But today is day 16. I got 16th workout here. I love this. Okay, so I'm going to make a big note here. So today's workout is actually a yoga workout. All right, yoga. Much like my strength, my mobility and stretching, I use yoga as a recovery. Okay, now I'm not a traditional yoga instructor. I know Jennifer does a fantastic class. Melanie's really good at it. Adam does a great job with yoga as well. I'm not your traditional yoga instructor, and here's why. I find yoga sometimes to be inaccessible, especially as someone who is thicker. I have a thicker body. My body's a little chunkier in areas, so it makes some of the poses more difficult. And I know I get a lot of feedback from people who say the same things. They don't find it very accessible, so sometimes they shy away from doing yoga because they don't think they can do it. I'll never forget when I first started taking yoga classes, I was overweight. And I remember the instructor saying, just lift and fold into the space and create the open space for you to fold into. And I was like, there's no open space to fold into. He weighs 100 pounds soaking wet. I'm 3 times his size. There's no place for me to fold into with everything in the middle here. So I get it when it doesn't seem accessible, but I try to make yoga accessible. And I spend most of my time when doing yoga work focusing on balance and mobility. Those are things, especially as we age, that we need work on. Balance and mobility. If you guys don't know, I have elderly parents, and falling risks and injuring people themselves during falling is one of the main reasons that our elderly suffer. And that comes from lack of balance and mobility work. And so I want to focus on that myself. So I have 3 different poses here to work on balance and mobility. And these are all traditional yoga poses. And I'm going to grab my mat here to give me some support. And I'll give you modifications for these to make these accessible for you. Now, the first pose we're going to do is a tree pose. Okay, tree. Now, tree is a balance pose. It's a balance and concentration. And I will tell you guys, when your mind is cluttered with lots of things happening, your balance is worse. So a lot of times people are like, well, I'm just not very balanced. I can't hold a balance pose. A lot of times we find that comes from people whose brains just aren't settled. So if you have trouble balancing, think about that. Am I overthinking stuff? Do I have all of these thoughts going through my head while I'm trying to do some balance work that I just can't focus? And a lot of times that's one of the reasons that you struggle with balance poses. So that's my first suggestion. Now, tree pose is a very simple pose. There's lots of modifications to this one, but tree pose, you choose one foot. I'm going to start off with my left foot. Actually, I'm going to take my socks off. Like Jennifer, I prefer to do a lot of work barefooted. So widen your feet, really plant that foot into the ground, take up as much space with your toes and your foot as possible. My left knee is going to stay soft, so I'm not locking that knee out. Hands can be on your hips here, on your thigh, on your the sides of your body. They can be in heart centered if you want. They can be out to the side if you want. And if you want to grab the wall, you can. But tree pose, you bring this right leg and you're going to place it on the side of your leg. Okay, simple, nice little simple. My knee is still soft. That gives me some ability to move around. And you'll notice that the basic version here is my foot is just placed on my calf, just on the inside of my calf here. Now, if you're really flexible and really good at this, you can bring this up inside the thigh here, which I'm not quite that flexible. The last thing you want to do, though, is put this on your knee. Never put this foot on the knee, press on the knee. Put it here on the thigh, on the calf if you need to. So palms heart-centered, calf. Open up this leg straight out and just stand here and hold this. Let the body move around. Now, a good tip for here is to find you a spot out in front of you, 6 or 8 feet in front of you, or a spot on the television there. Just find a spot and just stand there and hold it. The last thing you want to do is watch yourself in the camera because it's backwards. I've gotten used to that over the years teaching online, watching myself do backwards stuff. But find you a spot, hold it here, just see how long you can hold it, okay? So if you can go 15, 20 seconds, great. If you can go a minute, great. However long it is you can go, take that time, be mindful about that time. And then, of course, you're going to want to do the other side. Just like our workouts, you want to be mindful that one side's going to be easier than the other. So I'm not as balanced on this foot. It comes from my strength and my ability here. So my foot's tires quicker. I lose my balance a little easier. Now you can raise your hands overhead. You can raise your hands out to the side, wherever you feel comfortable. Some people feel like they can do it straight out, gives them more flex, more balance. Whatever works for you is fine. So balance pose first. That's your tree. Stay there with tree. Find out how long you can do that and take that one to its highest level you can. Now, the next one is a very traditional pose. It's called downward facing dog. It is traditionally used as a resting pose, but as someone who really struggles with it myself, I don't find it very restful. So you have to take the time to really work on this. And so I'm going to give you guys some modifications. By the way, I am certified as a Broga instructor, and Broga is actually a certification that takes yoga movements and kind of bros them down, makes them a little more accessible. And that's what I'm giving you guys, a lot of those tools. Now, downward facing dog starts on the ground here, up into your plank, and then push back into your downward facing dog. So the objective with downward facing dog is to push back off your heels, push the heels closer to the floor, and drop the head between the shoulders, lifting the hips, okay? Now that can be a little difficult, especially putting a lot of weight on people's hands and wrists. So one of the things that I do with this as a Broga instructor, you can take this down to the knees here, downward facing dog from the knees, and push back here, okay? So bringing the hands up, dropping down here, keeping the knees and the hips in line, dropping the hips down. This opens up the shoulders, opens up the lower back, but takes out the hamstrings, which become a problem for so many of us. The back of the legs become a problem. So starting here, really stretching down through the shoulders, opening up those shoulders, great mobility work here. And then back up into your plank, and then back down into this modified downward facing dog. Now, as you get more comfortable with this, you push up on your toes, keep those knees bent, downward facing dog with the knees bent, okay? Knees are here, and back up into your plank. Ultimately then pushing all the way back, dropping those heels down. You can do one leg at a time. So one leg at a time here until you can get both feet back into your downward facing dog. So there's a lot of variations to downward facing dog you can do to help you get there and work on that. Now, once you get back into that pose, you want to hold that for a good 15, 20 seconds. If you can go longer than that, again, it's designed as a resting pose. You can stay there for a minute or however long you want to hold that. Now, the last one we're going to do is one that is one of my favorite ones. I do this. I actually taught this during our stretch and mobility. It is the child's pose, and child's pose takes that lower back, really, really opens it up. Now, because I told you guys I'm Broga certified and I modify a lot of things down, one of the options for Broga is to widen the knees. So my knees are on the outsides of my mat. And this creates space here in the center if you have a little more, as I call it, a little more meat here in the middle, so that it has a place to go when you're down here. Opening up those knees gives you a little bit more space here to drive those hips down into your child's pose. Pressing those fingertips away, pushing those hips down towards the floor. Relaxing here with the head between the shoulders. Big breaths, relaxing the lower back. Take a break back up into your tabletop. Hang out here for just a minute, let the body rest, and then back into your child's pose again. Okay. Now, if you want, with these 3 movements, you can put them together in a nice little series. Okay, you can start off with your tree pose, come down into your plank, back into your child's pose, up into your downward facing dog, or however you want to, but use those 3 exercises and see how you can put them together the best you can. If not, do each one of them independently as long as you can and just work on them independently. Again, we teach all kinds of classes. I know Jennifer's got a couple of different yoga classes each week. I teach a stretch and mobility class, which is heavy on the broga. Adam teaches a class that's a modified yoga class called Stretch and Recovery. So we've got lots of options for you here to learn those things. So that's today, day 6, actually, yeah, day 16. I was like, oh, well, where are we? Day 16. That's all for some basic yoga stuff. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.